Bjergsen's legacy is just of being the most dominant player. Anyone has risen to his level of fame and notoriety. No one's, won as much as him.
And they will do it once again. The consecutive wins for Team Solomid, the Nexus falls, and Team Solomid are the 2015 North American League of Legends Championship Series Spring Split champions.
Simply put, Bjergsen built up the legacy of winning. Reggie started it with TSM, and Bjergsen just took that and ran with it. And during most of his tenure, TSM were a brand of winning.
It's nothing to stand in their way as TSM cement themselves as the most dominant organization in North American League of Legends and win their 4th North American Championship.
Bjergsen is one of the world's most recognizable esports stars. He blazed the trail by being one of the first European players to move to North America, and there he dominated the League of Legends scene. But like most heroes, he had humble beginnings.
I teamed up with Bjergsen way back, 2011, if I remember correctly. This is probably not even information you can find publicly. Bjergsen and I at the time were ranking up when I was rank 1 and he was rank 2, I believe. We had a one-on-one battle top lane. We were exchanging words. He won. But that was my first encounter with him. I didn't know he was Danish. I just knew there was this guy called Bjergsen. He was really good, but he was a bit annoying. After I played with him for a little bit, I got to chat with Bjergsen when he was still just a solo queue player. And I suggested that he joined Cruel Ultimatum as our new mid laner. I think he was 15, probably at the time. Very, very good player already. He pretty much just came in and became like the main player on the team, even though he was so young. We then separated, as you did back then all the time. Teams would die left and right. And I think about a year later, I wanted to create like a really serious team, and I got in contact with Copenhagen Wolves, and I knew I wanted Bjergsen as my mid laner. And I managed to have some good chats with him and his dad and so on about what does it mean going to DreamHack.
Fisher kind of was like a mentor and someone that I trusted to look out for me, and that my parents trusted to look out for me, because I was a very underdeveloped, socially anxious, bullied kid, and I had a lot of anxiety about being in person and meeting my teammates. I wasn't very happy with a lot of things around myself and who I was, but he reassured me a lot, and he reassured my parents a lot that he was going to be the guy constantly looking out for me. Gave me enough confidence to go to that event, which kind of blew my whole career up.
Copenhagen Wolves are here with a point to prove. They're the BYOC team. They were the underdogs. No one expected them to really get this far at all. The strike. This is Pale Cascade doing a lot of damage. And one more Crescent Strike will pick up the kill for Bjergsen.
XL winner is going to sacrifice himself for the good of the team. Is going to die. Diana jumps back in, picks up the kill as Yellow Pete before going down herself. Froggen's going to think about diving back in. Can he get Israel before he gets away? No. An arcane shift. Sven Skaren picks up the kill. That was a great fight for the Wolves. Yellow Pete Gatling Cannon is taking away. He's going to challenge Nico, but look at that huge crit. Chunking 732 damage. CLG pick up the ace.
The last binding, and it does snipe it. XL winner drops the Froggen again with another massive burst of damage. CLG are just face tanking this turret while Yellow Pete rips it apart, takes it off brick by brick, and as expected, good fight from Copenhagen Wolves, but CLG will take the Nexus, take the series 2-0.
We just made the quarterfinals and we got completely crushed by CLG EU. It wasn't close at all, but I guess that netted us the opportunity to play in the LCS qualifier, which I was unable to play in because I was too young.
We had to last minute find a replacement. We went to the tournament and we played the group stage and went 2-1. We had to play against Millennium, who at the time was one of the best teams in Europe. Probably one of the best teams potentially even in the world, like back then in like season 2. And we sat there the night before and was trying to figure out like a draft, a strategy. And I remember just chatting to him. He was back home and he just said like, there's zero way you guys win. Like there's no chance you can beat this team. Great motivation. And then we beat them 2-0 easily actually. And then as the stupid Danish guy and having no camera experience, I just went up on stage and I did the interview, and it just, I think Carmack asked me about Bjergsen or something, and it just felt really natural just to be like,
so Bjergsen, fuck you. Sorry.
Copenhagen Wolves qualified for the EU LCS, but Bjergsen had to wait for his birthday to get his first start. Unfortunately, he didn't come at the best time.
I remember we were like 0-6 or something when I came in. Then I think we went 0-9. We lost another few games. A lot of people think that actually we were like 0-9 before I came in, and then I came in and in my first game I got the pentakill and all this stuff. I don't think that was true. I think I came in and we were still losing games to my memory. And then I had that game where I got a pentakill, and I remember I really didn't want to do the interview, but Chalks and my team were all like, you got the pentakill, like you have to do the interview. I think after that we started really kind of stepping it up, and we ended up making like, so we went from like dead last to a shared 4th place.
Zven goes into the middle. Varus ulti goes down as well. Froggen uses his onions. Snoopy has to flash away. Will he survive? No, he won't. Bjergsen gets the kill. There's a laser coming in. It's a double kill for Bjergsen though. They're moving further in. Bjergsen gets in with a light binding. Yellow Pete so below the barrier. Not going to save him from that one. And the Wolves are going to focus in on towards the Nexus turret. First one goes down. Second one will fall. And the Nexus itself goes down. I cannot believe this game. The Wolves take down Evil Geniuses and move into 5th in the table.
Then the American thing started where they looked towards Europe and they started wanting to import European players. But yeah, TSM basically came knocking on the door, and both Bjergsen and I, we went to Worlds 2013 to work for Riot, like on camera stuff. And that's when obviously he got the introduction to Reginald and the rest of TSM. And I'm sure they had some productive conversations about how he should be joining TSM.
I'm Bjergsen. I heard you guys need a new mid laner.
Who the fuck are you?
Just remember there was an insane amount of hype. Like I went to the TSM house. It was to not be leaked, but I was sleeping on Dyrus's floor, on a mattress on the floor. So I was like crawling in there on the floor on the first day, and then the second day when we did the announcement and I turned on my stream, I had like 30,000 viewers or something.
TSM announced that they are going to import Bjergsen. Reggie is going to retire, which at the time was a momentous change. TSM was, you know, the North American organization, and Reginald is a very polarizing person and player. He kind of warped how TSM would play all around him. For this very young player to come over from Europe and replace one of North America's most iconic players and mid laners was a very big deal.
And at the end of the day, nobody could or should stand in the way of him signing with TSM, because they were obviously the biggest organization at the time. And I think they made one of the greatest pickups we've seen in franchise history.
TSM was a bit of a no-brainer. Like TSM was just really a legendary organization and had always been the top performer in North America. But when I was looking at NA, it just looked like their infrastructure was a much better. It just seemed more professional, and it seemed like a level up from at least, you know, I wasn't in a top organization like Fnatic or anything, but the organizations that I was around, it seemed like North America was just kind of a level above. And I think I also really like the idea of just like getting far away from where I had been, because I had a pretty tough early teenage years, and it was very intriguing to me to kind of just go somewhere completely new and try to start a different life.
And it wasn't like Reggie and TSM were importing a superstar from Europe. They were importing a young player yet to be proven. It was a really big deal, big risk, and the biggest risk that TSM have taken and the biggest payoff that they've ever gotten.
It's a great play. X-Special flashes forward. The culling gets thrown down and Dexter eats most of the hits. He's the first victim, and CLG is near. Has respawned. He's back in the fight. He's taken Mundo down. This is turning messy. Bjergsen's got a double kill. Link forced away. That's a triple kill for Bjergsen. That's a quadra kill for Bjergsen. He's looking for the penta. Can he get it? That's the question. Bjergsen leaves one more hit. That's a penta kill!
I think my favorite win is probably always going to be the first championship that I won, because also it was very unexpected, I would say. I think we got crushed 3-0 in spring split playoffs by Cloud9, and then we came into summer playoffs, and it wasn't the same as spring, where in spring it was like us and C9, significantly better than everyone else, to my memory. So I didn't even know if we were going to make the final.
Calling doing practically nothing there. An ultimate down. Shadow Shao throws the ball off, but he's going to get tidal wave. Dyrus very low, does get dropped. Few kills coming in there on TSM side. WildTurtle going hard. There's going to be the triple kill coming in. No, it goes over another double for Bjergsen. Jack The inhibitors are down. The Nexus turrets are in the eyes of Team Solo Mid, and they're going to solidify a trip to the World Championship.
What a series TSM wins. After all the tension, TSM finds the fight, and WildTurtle goes wild right there on that last fight, outplaying Cloud9 and carrying TSM to the championship.
That's the ace. That's the game. TSM goes the full 5 and takes down Cloud9.
That went on to TSM winning 2 back-to-back. Then, a little while later, they won 3 back-to-back. Eventually it very quickly became the case of, okay, Bjergsen's actually just the best. But Bjergsen's strengths were so heavily in how much he would crush the 1v1s. His mechanics were amazing. His laning phase was better than everybody's by far. This is a man who set records for crushing laning phases and also has a 75% win rate on Zilean, who doesn't have a laning phase. So he really is a phenomenally well-rounded talent.
He's not in too bad of a spot. He also wanted to save that teleport. We know how strong Alessandro TP is down towards the bottom lane in case any ganks happen. Because obviously now you're waiting to see what Bjergsen will do in this trade. He's going in.
Oh, he's took a tower hit there as Maple. Don't think the Deathmark's got quite enough damage for the Shuriken from the side. Really well played that by Bjergsen.
Between 2014 and 2017, Bjergsen won 5 titles with TSM. And in 2019, having become the face of the brand, Bjergsen became a part owner of the company. But it was a decision that actually came out of adversity.
I had a pretty serious talk with Reggie because we weren't doing very well in 2018, 2019. And I had some feelings as to why. He ended up talking to me about why he thought we weren't doing well, and they were actually very similar to all the ideas that I had before I even got to say them, which made me feel more confident in kind of the future of the team. I think my contract was expiring at the time, and we both felt like, okay, this part ownership is kind of a commitment to the company in the long term because we see things the same way. And also I've done a lot to help grow TSM as a brand.
I think it's actually really cool, especially for a player who, for 2014 through 2021, for a solid 7 to 8 full years was, almost synonymous with TSM.
And in summer 2020, TSM shot back on top of the LCS. Bjergsen lifted another trophy and was heading to Worlds for the 5th time in his career. But international competition is the one place he failed to carry his team to glory.
Bjergsen doing what he can to stay alive, but it's not going to be enough. There's nothing that Team Solo Mid can do about that.
The Nexus is going down, and Team Solo Mid, their hopes, their dreams, they're done!
I mean, there's too many minions. They're crashing in. The Nexus is dying to all these super minions, and Misfits are going to do it.
Arrow connects onto the Shen, not exactly. Oh! 3-man shockwave in the back line. Deadly Flourish locks down one, and TSM, they are running for the hills. Bengal going to come in, and yes, TSM, you did manage to get a Baron, but can you get out of here is the question. Empowered recalls are going to come through, but there are no turrets. A few more auto attacks, and this one's going to go down. Stage United keeps Peanut alive, and LGD do it. It's never going to feel good to be a first seed in a group like this and come out 0-6.
After the 2020 TSM Worlds fiasco, where it was, honestly pretty miserable, almost that entire team, just scattered.
I was definitely sad the first time when I heard that Bjergsen was going to retire. They had a pretty rough run at Worlds, and both him and Doublelift had talked about how much it weighs on you, and they had both been grinding international failures basically after domestic success for a long time, and it just felt like the end of an era for an age of North American League of Legends fan.
But it wasn't the end for Bjergsen's time on TSM. He quickly transitioned into a head coaching role.
I went into it with everything that I had, so I thought I would never play again. I had a lot of experience over the years, and I had learned a lot from different coaches and different teammates of mine, what they do well, what they don't do well. Just write out a ton of things of how I really see a team should be run, the traps that teams fall into, how teams should operate, and I was starting to take on more and more responsibility as a leader, and eventually just reached a point where I felt like this is just something that I want to try doing full time and see how well I could do.
I don't think he was a horrible coach by any means, but TSM didn't certainly do all that well, I felt like, in the previous years.
It's time for FlyQuest to end this game. Yep, TSM's last stand goes down in flames, and FlyQuest are going to take the first victory of the start of the LCS here. What team play from them. So much more calm than the lock-in tournament. Well rewarded here. Now with the full squad for FlyQuest, congratulations.
I was way more excited when I heard that he was gonna unretire than continue as a coach. It's just feels so much better to have him back and actually playing.
But Bjergsen shocked the league community when it became clear he would not be playing for TSM in 2022 after 8 years with the org.
I failed over and over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed.
I was in conversations with a lot of teams, and TSM being one of them, and frankly, the roster just didn't look as good as some of these other options, and especially Team Liquid. I didn't make any decisions early on in the offseason. I wanted to really see, like, okay, what are all my options? And when it came to it, and it was like, okay, I joined TSM, this is what the players look like. I joined TL, this is what the players look like. I joined these other teams, this is what the roster would look like. TL was just an absolute no-brainer for me.
Bjergsen is now where he believes he needs to be to win. But is he risking his legacy he built up on TSM?
But I understand, especially from a fan perspective, that this was a guy who was ingrained into TSM's history. But maybe it was for the best for him to step away and get a new experience, new team, new organization, and see what that can do for him in his, I guess, second life of his playing career now.
We've seen a whole arc of Bjergsen on TSM and what that looks like. And people always wondered, but what if he switched teams, or, you know, what if the environment was different? What would it actually look like? And now we get to see that take place on Team Liquid. I actually don't think there's a huge risk to Bjergsen's legacy, at least for those who do remember his original times on TSM, the ones where it's just cemented. Like you can't really tarnish the success and domination that Bjergsen has had in North America. That's why so many people already consider him the greatest of all time from North America, the GOAT.
I think all you can do is actually improve upon what's already been done. He's got the most trophies. He is, to me right now, the greatest LCS player of all time. If he gets 10th place back-to-back in spring and summer, this doesn't change his old accolades.
Flash Q, when you flash, you pillar. There's not a good way out. They got to get back in range, though, and Blue will die. Welcome back to the LCS, baby. Bjergsen's got first blood.
Yeah, I was worried I might suck coming back to play.
You take a year off from really hardcore competing, and that's going to change things, right? You're going to build up some rust. But that said, we just watched the lock-in finals, at least I just did, and, well, all 3 games were mid-gap.
They have overextended here. Everyone from TL is around.
Shields back down. Vulcan dangerously low. Vulcan will die. Santorin buys a lot of time. Lulu over the top, but it's 1 kill back. A second one picked up now as well. Do we get the resets? Not long enough, and now just left alone. Impact will die. A quadra kill. The Burger King is back.
I feel like almost everyone gets forgotten eventually. So I feel like at some point I'm not really going to be remembered. But hopefully for the few years afterwards, people will just remember me as someone that put in a lot of effort and had a lot of respect towards the sport or the competition.